Ange, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming live across the globe, Anjali Rao, Rob McKnight and David Robinson.
Ange, Rob and Robbo. News and views, entertainment too. It's the Ange, Rob and Robbo. Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Indeed, welcome to a big new week of the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. Coming up shortly, we'll meet the newest groom from MAFS who dropped a big bombshell. We'll meet Liam a little bit later. And we've got some big news about Dancing with the Stars. I broke a big story this afternoon. Who will be hosting? Is Daryl Summers coming back? We'll be revealing that very shortly. But first, it's David Robinson and Anjali Rao. Hello, Ange.
Hello, how are you?
Good, I loved it tonight. I said, oh, I love your hair. And you're like, it's the same as it always is. And I went, oh, looks different. And you'd flicked it across your ear. But I said, if you got a buzz cut, wouldn't notice.
I know. So maybe our viewers might remember when I had 3 feet of hair chopped off and you had to be told by Amanda, say something about Andrew's hair. I literally go, flick, flick. Oh, look at your hair. It's so different. You're a special man, Rob McKnight.
And Robbo, have you had a haircut?
Well, not on my head, Rob, but I've got something on my back called patchy. It's a tiny little bit of patch of hair.
Right. Too much information.
It's on my back. It's not massive. It's just like we used to call it patchy. So patchy is there.
Well, there is a lot to come up. A lot to talk about in this edition of the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. Thanks for your company. Let's get into our hot button issues because thousands of women have protested across Australia as part of the March for Justice. But the defining moment was the impassioned speech given by Brittany Higgins. The former Liberal staffer was visibly nervous before she began to speak, before her words rang out across the country.
I was raped inside Parliament House by a colleague, and for so long it felt like the people around me only cared because of where it happened and what it might mean for them. It was so confusing because these people were my idols. I had dedicated my life to them. They were my social network, my colleagues, and my family. And suddenly they'd treated me differently. I wasn't a person who'd just gone through a life-changing traumatic event. I was a political problem. Amanda Vanstone, a former Liberal minister, summed it up the other day. If there was a young girl alleging she had been raped in a different office, would it be on the front page? No, it wouldn't. I think Miss Vanstone's missing the point. There is a horrible societal acceptance about sexual violence experienced by women in Australia. My story was on the front page for the sole reason that it is a painful reminder to women that if it can happen in Parliament House, it can truly happen anywhere. These past few weeks on a personal level have been extremely difficult. Like many of you, I've watched this all play out in the media. I watched it happen via a laptop from a spare bedroom in my dad's apartment on the Gold Coast. I watched as the Prime Minister of Australia publicly apologised to me through the media, while privately his team actively discredited and undermined my loved ones. I tuned into Question Time to see my former bosses, people that I had dedicated my life to, deny and downplay my lived experience. I read the news updates every day at 5 a.m. because I was waking up to new information about my own sexual assault through the media. Details that were never disclosed to me by my employers. Information that would have helped me answer questions that have haunted me for years. I watched as people hid behind throwaway phrases like due process and presumption of innocence while failing to acknowledge how the justice system is notoriously stacked against victims of sexual crimes. I read the advice from Defence Chief Angus Campbell, who advised women on how not to fall prey to those who have the proclivity to harm others. Advice aimed solely at modifying the behaviour of victims and does nothing to address the actions of perpetrators. I was dismayed by senior male journalists who routinely implied that my partner was pulling the strings behind the scenes. The subtle inference being that a traumatised woman wasn't capable of weaponising her own story. I watched as advocates on the macro level disappear when the issue hit too close to home at the micro level. I had my suspicions confirmed when the media exposed the long list of people who knew about what had happened to me. A list that seemed to grow by the day, as truths about internal reviews, Senate committee submissions, office cleans and witness accounts were all unearthed. These are the people making our laws and governing the country. As our leaders, they should be the exemplar, the gold standard. Sadly, this just isn't the case. If they aren't committed to addressing these issues in their own offices, what confidence can the women of Australia have that they will be proactive in addressing this issue in the broader community?
I thought it was important to play a big chunk of that interview. There's no doubt the anger of women all across the country has been felt today, but leaders of the march have refused to meet with the Prime Minister in his office, saying he should come out and face the crowd. Organiser Janine Hendry said she read the room in choosing to decline Mr Morrison's invitation for a private meeting. Here she is on Sunrise this morning.
Across the country today, 100,000 women are coming out. They're coming out because their voices haven't been heard. Yep. The Prime Minister needs to come out of his office, walk across the forecourt and listen to our voices. That's the central core of what's been going on here. We've come to him. We've come to Parliament House. The least he can do is come out and listen to us in a public space and listen to our voices.
Ange, what do you make of the decision to reject the PM's invitation for a private meeting? So let's be clear on what happened. The PM said, come in and have a meeting. They said, no, we want you to come out to the crowd. Do you think they've missed an opportunity?
Oh, hugely, hugely. It's such a shame. It really is. I think this is just a wonderful way to undermine everything that these women were trying to achieve. It's not the way that diplomacy is done. It's not the way that effective change comes about. Everything happens from, you have to take the emotion out of it. It comes from, going and having private conversations. And maybe that's not palatable to some, but that's the way that it's done. Of course, it would have been, a fabulously decent photo op if Morrison had gone outside. But you've got to evaluate this particular situation as opposed to just any old head of state just running the gauntlet per se of a protest. Take away the security concerns, just like pretend that's not a thing. You can only change from the inside, and the organisers who were invited to talk with him privately should have seized upon that opportunity. Audience is better than no audience, right? And, I can't think of the last time that a march led to any real systemic change. It's a start, but just that it's not the way that diplomacy works. And, whether you like it or not, it's just the plain fact. And I just thought that was a real shame and a real missed opportunity.
I've got to say I really disagree with you on this one, Ange. I think that diplomacy in this area is dead, and it's dead because of the people in Parliament House. This idea of going behind closed doors, that's the whole problem. That's the whole issue of this problem, is that it's always tried to be behind closed doors. It's always trying to be swept under the carpet. It's always trying to be on the government's terms. Well, no, I love the idea that the march came to Parliament House. We're coming here, you come to here. It was disgusting. The Prime Minister had no time to attend the march, or at least make an appearance, but he did have time for a meeting inside the walls. What sorry, that kind of logic doesn't exist. They were right in saying no to him, because I also didn't like the optics of a man going, all right. Basically, this is how I interpret it. All right, sweetheart, all right, you can come into the office and we'll have a little chat behind closed doors. We'll obviously have cameras and photographers there, but yeah, all right, but we're not going to, you come to me. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. Enough is enough. And it's these kind of ideas where I just don't agree with that.
But when you say that, all of this has happened because of this stuff that went on behind closed doors, yeah, but that was all people singing from the very same hymn sheet. This is not. This was, the head of state, like it or not, speaking to people who were absolutely not from the same hymn sheet whatsoever. So it would have been, one would hope, a good, proper debate, and hopefully something would have come out of it, but it would have been the start. Whether I think, just a march and then what, everybody sort of forgets and looks the other way. What's the point of that? One conversation would have been a good start, I think.
I do understand what you're saying. I really do. I think just knowing from what we've seen before of Scotty from marketing, Scott Morrison, I think that it would have just been a very nice, look, welcome. Yes, we're hearing you. Look at everything we're doing. We're not actually doing anything really. You haven't even, read the report. You haven't read the dossier.
Yeah.
So
but
what
on
is
this
idea
issue,
of bringing in and saying
on this
to
issue,
him,
if I can say, Robbo, he was in a no-win situation because
rubbish. He could have walked out there. It would have been incredibly powerful for Scott Morrison to, at the last minute, have some kind of conscience and walk out there. Now, yes, maybe it was a photo op, and maybe he would have been, had to go up because it was just looked like a photo op. But perception is everything. The idea that he was, a couple of 100 metres away from this massive march that was occurring around the country, and he couldn't walk out the door.
Because it's a hostile crowd that would have booed him. He was putting himself in a
listening mood. They were not in a listening mood.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But he should have been in a listening mood. As a Prime Minister and a man, he should have been in a listening mood.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with that. But my point is, he did extend an olive branch. Now, look, I want to play a clip, and Morrison, to me, has blown this completely. But I will say I don't think it's unreasonable for a Prime Minister of the country to not come out to a protest/march. I do think to invite the leaders in for a conversation is a fair thing for the Prime Minister of the country to do.
Can I ask why? I just want to ask you why, just really quickly.
Because I've got to tell you, going into that, it's definitely going to be hostile against all the crap that's gone down within Parliament House, and every legitimate reason each one of those people were at these protests/marches, right? He's going into that and he's going to face the full force of that. Now, some people might say, well, he needs to cop it on the chin, and maybe he could have spoken to them, turned things around. But I'm saying I'm not going to hold him accountable for deciding not to go out to the march. What I am going to hold him accountable for is this ridiculous speech that was prepared on how he tried to politicise these marches and say, haven't you got it good? Have a look at this. It's ridiculous.
Today, here and in many cities across our country, women and men are gathering together in rallies, both large and small, to call for change and to act against violence directed towards women. It is good and right, Mr. Speaker, that so many are able to gather here in this way, whether in our capital or elsewhere, and to do so peacefully, to express their concerns and their very genuine and real frustrations. This is a vibrant liberal democracy, Mr. Speaker. Not far from here, such marches, even now, are being met with bullets, but not here in this country, Mr. Speaker. Not here in this country. This is a triumph of democracy when we see these things take place.
Aren't you lucky, ladies? We're not shooting you. I mean, read the room, Ange. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. It was deplorable. Look, by what I just said, I think we all know that I'm no massive fan of Morrison at all. I think he's done so much wrong. God, as if he can read a freaking book, let alone a whole room. It's it really is deplorable. He's got no idea what's going on. We were talking earlier on last week about, who he should fire. And I'd suggest that his PR team should be right up there.
Chief of staff out of there. Whoever approved that, Robbo.
Sure.
That was a pre-prepared statement.
Yeah, and that's wonderful thing. Ladies across the country, we're having trouble listening, but at least we're not firing guns at you. Please go home to the kitchen and be so happy that our Prime Minister... What a awful, tone-deaf, disgusting speech. Can I go back to really quite quickly one thing? I know we're wrapping up on this, but you keep talking about a Prime Minister who won't front up to a hostile protest because it's dangerous or it's bad for him politically. I want to take you back, and we're going to be talking about this particular man in just a moment. 1996, John Howard went up against a pro-gun country. He was at a place where the Australian Federal Police made him put on a bulletproof vest because of the hostile nature of it. What did he do? Now, did John Howard stay hiding behind Parliament House walls? Now, these, people who were marching today were not out for his blood. They wanted him to listen, and yet you're saying that it's too hostile for a Prime Minister to go out there. But all of these people had guns that day where there was a credible threat to a Prime Minister, and he still led. Now, I'm no massive fan of John Howard either, but you can't start talking about, Prime Ministers not going into hostile situations because they don't like the messaging or it doesn't agree with them.
I'll accept that. I think that's a really, really good point.
As well. Yeah.
It's a very good point, Robbo. I'm still, out of all the actions today, the fact that he didn't go out is not the thing that disturbs me the most. That speech that he and his advisors thought was okay to say is what is the real issue, and says it just says they're so out of touch. Let's move on, because you just mentioned it, Robbo, and he was the face of evil. Martin Bryan will forever be known as the man who took 35 lives at Port Arthur in 1996. But now a new picture of Bryan has emerged from Ridson Prison in Hobart, showing the now 53-year-old as a much larger man who has earned the nickname Porky Pig by inmates. Prison officers describe Bryan as a huge man who knocks back his hourly exercise and instead spends his days consuming 2-minute noodles and chocolate, which he is known to exchange for sexual favours. Robbo, do we have a right to see this photo and know about his alleged sexual habits, or does he have the right to privacy?
Well, look, privacy is said to be, or is, a fundamental human right. Now, I would suggest that, unfortunately, Martin Bryan doesn't deserve that at all. And we also want to know, now, we're holding him to account. He was obviously given 35 life sentences when he was convicted for the Port Arthur massacre. This is one of those things where I just think, we deserve the right to know. We're paying to keep him in that prison. Obviously, it can't be too gratuitous, but obviously these things come out. There was sensational photos from News Corp, I think 2018 or something like that, where we saw the first photographs of Martin Bryan since he was put in prison. Martin Bryan, to me, doesn't have many rights at all, including privacy. So I'm okay with it, and I think I want to see what he looks like now. We don't have the death penalty in this country, but you could imagine that if he did that particular massacre, 100 years before, he would be dead by now. So, I want to see the pictures. I want to hear a little bit about what is happening and what has happened to Australia's largest mass murderer. So, I'm okay with this.
What do you think, Ange? I mean, this is a guy who I've watched the police interviews with him, because we did an episode on Monsters Who Murder, and I don't know, he didn't seem quite right in the head to me when I watched those police interviews. But where do you draw the line?
Because he seemed totally sane. God, no. What normal guy, it's like, sure,
no, but there is meanness, there is psychopathic behaviour, and I just felt watching those police interviews, this was mixed in with something else. So, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that, but
but that's actually come to light, since he's been in prison, which he's got an IQ of 66. He's got all sorts of, brought a terrible, really, really messed up upbringing, all of that. But I'm afraid I just don't care. If he was ruled that insane, I suppose, then he would have been put in a different type of facility, but he wasn't. He was ruled that, he understood what he'd done, etc. So, in you go. And I've always been fairly much an eye for an eye type of girl, especially when it comes to somebody like Martin Bryan and those like him, the Fred and Rose Wests of the world.
Yes.
I feel no differently. Look, he took away every single right that his victims had. All that was taken from him was his right to freedom and his right to privacy, apparently. I'm absolutely fine with that. He gets free healthcare. He gets, for his cash rats, he gets free room and board, apparently many, many meals a day. And don't come at me for being fattest. This is Martin Bryan we're talking about.
How do you put on that amount of weight in prison? That is an interesting question, actually.
That isn't it. So I did read that the guards are actually terrified of him, which sort of goes to, okay, maybe he's getting everything that he asks for. And we know that, he's swapping sexual favours for chocolate and crisps and whatever. But, we've argued plenty of times on this show, haven't we, guys, about, whether certain segments of society should be afforded privacy because they've either sought fame or infamy. And I've always come down on the side of, if you put yourself out there for, either one of those things, you within reason give up your privacy because you've chosen to do that yourself.
Right.
So the only thing that slightly irks me about this is that no one aside from Bryant's lawyer, to my knowledge, has ever known what his motive was for massacring all those people.
Yeah.
But if it was notoriety, are we not just doing his bidding by giving him exactly what he wants, which is airtime? That's the only thing that disturbs.
And in the police interviews, you can see that he wants to know what the papers are saying, and and the investigators were sort of giving him tidbits as a way of getting information out of him. This is the problem I have with Australian authorities. No one gets to do an interview with him. They won't allow such a thing, and I think it's the kind of thing Australian would need. And look, I can see the feedback, and I can see people saying the sooner he drops dead, the better. Don't give him any headlines. He shouldn't be a topic. That we definitely have feedback like that. But I also think there's something in knowing what makes this man tick. And for the country to understand this was such a monumental moment in Australian history. It did, as Robbo quite rightly pointed out, led to gun control. John Howard, a right-leaning conservative politician, got rid of guns essentially in this country. America can't understand it, and we're proud of that moment for what he did as a prime minister based on these events. I think there's a lot of questions I would like an interviewer to go and ask Martin Bryan, and unfortunately we don't allow that in this country. Right.
And also, don't you think, like, I'm going to use The Silence of the Lambs as an example. I know it's fiction, but why aren't we studying Martin Bryan? As you mentioned, Ange, there, we don't know the motive. We don't know what led to it. As far as I know, and, I maybe we're not told, but if he's living this long and he's in custody, why the bloody hell aren't we studying him?
Yep.
Why are we not trying to get information to prevent the next one? It's almost like it's a wasted resource. You've got nuclear power in that prison, and we're just letting it go.
Absolutely.
Yes, agreed.
All right, do you spring out of bed or hit the snooze button? Well, new research says you're not doing yourself any favours if you try and get a few extra Zs. Sleep psychologist Professor Dorothy Bruck says those who hit the snooze button could have deeper sleep issues. She also says you'd be better off setting the alarm for the time you actually need to get up rather than interrupting your sleep cycle. Robbo, do you doze back off to sleep, or do you get up and get at 'em?
So I read the article, and we were actually talking about this the other day off air, but I read the article, and if I've got to get up at, say, 7:30, like the article says, I will absolutely set my alarm either for 7 or 6:50 because I need that snooze time. I cannot handle not having snooze time. So I'll actually, buffer time to do that. which is not proving particularly helpful at the moment while I'm having my 3 a.m. starts. I'll tell you that right now. That kind of window has gotten much shorter. I'm only, allowing kind of one snooze time. And I'm like, oh, get up there.
No. Can I say?
Yeah, I can't do it.
A good friend of yours, Melissa Doyle, when I started working the early shift at Sunrise, she came up to me and said, I want to give you a piece of advice, Rob. Never hit the snooze button. Never hit the snooze button. She said,
Rob,
the moment
did you take offence
that,
to this? Like, she looked around the room and went, Jesus Christ, who's this ghost? So are you taking offence to this at all? Like, just picked you out of a crowd a bit through?
Just randomly, she walked through and said, "You."
Look at this guy.
No, she knew I was taking over line producing of Sunrise, and so she's very friendly. She's a lovely woman. Came and gave me some advice, and she said, "Anytime you hit the snooze button, you're in trouble." Because if you get up and go, your body just knows it has to do it. The moment you hit the snooze button, you think, just this one day. She said, I would always have the worst days, the worst shows whenever I did that. And when I did all those early starts for Studio 10, that alarm would go off and I would be up. And I just never, ever hit the snooze button. You just can't do it, Ange. I bet you're a snooze button hitter, though.
Oh, my God. Love me. Love my snooze button. That's it. Yes. But, I got up at 2:45 in the morning every day for 8 years when I was doing the breakfast show on CNN and also the breakfast show on Sky News in the UK. And that 5-minute snooze, that's all I need. I am the world's deepest sleeper. I sleep talk, I sleep walk. It's staying awake. That is my issue. Oh, that was good fun at boarding school, let me tell you that. That's the excuse I'm using. Look, somehow I managed to stay awake through the evenings for you two. God knows how I do it. But, look, all the way through my teens. You're a bargain at twice the price. All the way through my teens, my poor mother would be holding a mirror over my face in the morning when I was asleep to make sure that I was still breathing. Like, she honestly thought that I had expired in the night. But, it doesn't matter when I go to sleep. Any alarm is too early, so I have multiple snooze alarms in order for me to, these days, get my child to school. Because without those precious, precious alarms, he'd be the bloody village idiot by now. Honestly, it's the only thing that gets him to
And a big shout out to Izzy if he's watching. Big shout out, you idiot. You bloody idiot. That's what Mum says.
Love it. Well, I will just give you my advice. It never did me wrong. Never hit the snooze button. Never.
Always hit the snooze button.
I'm going to try it tomorrow morning. I can't promise it'll work because I'll be like, Rob McKnight. Yes.
Sorry, was that you looking at your alarm or every time I call you?
No. Anyway, coming up, we've got Jason, right?
All right, let's move on, because when is foul language appropriate in public? A photo of a New Zealand sign popped up in my news feed, which got me thinking. The sign, which tries to shock readers into action, says, "Why are you not picking up your dog shit?" It then lists the following options: I'm a jerk, I don't care about this area or the community, I'm lazy, and mummy still cleans up after me. And I have to say, I reckon this sign works well to make its point, but I don't really like the idea of my kids seeing it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm down with that. Look, as you know, I love a good old Tourette-style spray when it's just amongst friends.
Oh, don't we all?
Absolutely. But I've never actually enjoyed it when it's used in public campaigns, because it makes me think, if you're getting that low right off the bat and so shouty, you can tell it's shouty, then your case isn't that strong to begin with. There are
I think it's a strong case. I think you should pick up your dog poo.
I do really like lots of things that they said. Oh, definitely, sure, but you don't have to swear with it. That's the thing. It's I love the certain things I'm not picking it up because I'm a jerk, or my mum still picks up. That's clever. That's really good. And there are so many ways that they could have gone on that tangent, carried on without resorting to the word shit, which means basically the whole message is going to be null and void as soon as your kid starts going, I thought you said shit was a bad word. Can I say shit then? again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your argument for why I can't say shit is shit.
100%.
Yeah, so that's the bit that I don't like. But the rest of it I thought was really clever.
Robbo, could you ever imagine using a word like that on the ABC Sunshine Breakfast that you're doing at the moment? What would happen?
Well, first of all,
Isn't it
it's ABC
encouraged?
Sunshine Coast breakfast. So
What did I say?
It's on the Sunshine. You said it before as well. Another day we go, how is it on ABC Sunshine Breakfast? It's good. It's good, Rob.
Oh, come on.
The first time I let it slide. This time I had to bring it up there.
Sunshine Breakfast. There you go, theme song.
The other day, I like it. The other day I said bloody about 4 times in a short period of time. I got a text and said, not very becoming of the ABC, using low-level profanity 4 times in a short amount of time.
It's
I read it out.
time too.
Yeah. I read it out and I thought, I apologise and whatnot. I think this is trashy, very trashy to have, especially an official kind of local government, I guess a council thing, using the word shit. Like get over it. Like, there's so... In order to grab people's attention, you can write that so much better. There are different ways of saying it, but just to pick up your dog shit. Come on,
Yeah.
I love swearing.
Yeah.
I adore swearing, but just seeing that, it's trash. It doesn't look good. It doesn't work well. It's shit.
Yes, and
You
I
sort of
am.
go, you know how
Thank you,
in
Amanda.
some societies, and we are talking about New Zealand here, maybe shit isn't swearing, in the same way that I always thought. Well, I was brought up to believe that, like crap, piss and bum were, oh my God, that's like washing the mouth out with soap territory. But maybe it isn't. Remember that whole sort of... Yeah.
Shit is swearing no matter
New
where you
Zealand-
are. But the one
New
that
Zealand
gets
is pretty
me is
backward, but they're not as
bollocks.
backward as that.
I can't believe that's a swear word in England.
What is? What's a swear word?
Bollocks.
Bollocks is a swear word, but it's also very acceptable. But I remember writing the story about the whole, where the bloody hell are you campaign for CNN, and how, all these countries around the world banned it because of the word bloody, except the word Canada, which was fine with bloody, but banned it because of the word hell. It's all about the different societies and what is characterised as a swear word and like a no-go zone and what isn't. And maybe in that part of New Zealand, it's not swearing. I don't know.
Well, before we move on, Robbo, I do need to apologise because I was the one who rang up to the ABC in many different voices to complain about your... Hello, I'm very upset about that yuck whippersnipper using the bloody word. He's such a shit. You tell him, doll.
Now that you do that, I recognise the voice. Writing a little note there.
Unaccustomed as I am to complaining.
Another voice I do was, I'm so disgusted in that David Robinson.
All right, just
a master of many voice.
I know, but just a fun. Give me an Irish caller.
To be Rob, I don't like that. to be sure, I don't like that voice. I don't like that swearing. I gotta say, that was my South African actually. Anyway.
Oh God!
I really am the accent king, Anyway, it was Music's Night of Nights. The 63rd Annual Grammy Awards were held earlier today, Australian time. And to bring us up to speed on the biggest moments and the biggest winners is, of course, our entertainment reporter, Jason Roses. Hello, Jason.
Hello, Rob. Hello, guys. Rob, please never do an accent again. I was dying inside very awkwardly.
Oh, mate, I'll do them. And the great thing is no one can get offended because they don't know what accent I'm doing.
In that case, you've nailed it.
Mamma mia, what accent could this be?
That's actually your best one yet. That was Italian.
It really is. It really is.
Like
and it was
Mario
offensive.
Brothers there. Oh my God. Oh yeah, it was offensive. Yeah. No question there. But all right, let's get to this fringe here. I'm seeing on the preview here. Look at that fringe. Anyway.
Great.
Jason, tell us about the... Well, I don't know what was happening there. Jason, tell us about the Grammy Awards.
The Fringe.
All right, well,
Cue the
let's
Fringe.
talk about the Grammys. So
Yeah,
they were
guys,
held in
great.
LA with most of the ceremony. It actually took place outside due to COVID. This year it was hosted by Trevor Noah, and a lot of you would know him. He's the host of The Daily Show. Now, fashion, of course, I am the fashionista of the show. Actually, not me. It's more likely Ange. But let's talk about the fashion. That's Harry Styles. Harry opened up the show with a performance of Watermelon Sugar, and he also took home the Grammy for Best Pop Solo Performance. He's wearing a lovely yellow jacket and a beautiful pink scarf there. It just looks absolutely fabulous. Next on the list is Noah Cyrus. Where's Noah Cyrus's photo? Let's get that. Oh, my God. What is that? Apparently, they were compared to like a piece of popcorn or a used tissue. I'm going to say tissue paper.
Yeah, I say tissue too. Terrible.
Yeah. It looks so ridiculous. Okay, next on the list is Dojo Cat. Where's Dojo? Ooh, okay. See, apparently that was one of the red carpet's most revealing outfits, and it was designed by Roberto Cavalli. What do you think of that? It's divided some opinions. Some people like the 90s vibe, but some people reckon that J-Lo wore it to the Grammys in the early 2000s.
Well,
I don't mind it.
The bottom half of that looks like the love child between Oscar the Grouch and Big Bird.
No,
And
I
that's
love
what
a green bush.
No, I like it.
I'm not going to ask how many you've seen. Sounds like a few. Oh my God.
I will say I actually like the dress. Out of everything we've seen
love the
there,
dress.
and Harry Styles. What about him? I didn't know he was Scottish. It looks like he put the tartan on the wrong end. He put it on his top instead of the kilt.
I don't know what it is about Harry Styles.
That's what you picked up from that outfit.
I'm so attracted to that man.
Oh, and he's wearing Aussie ostrich as a scarf.
Yes, he can wear anything as far as I'm concerned.
Oh no, or nothing at all. Anywho, so Jace, do you know the thing that absolutely just flummoxes me is that in the Grammys there are 84 categories. 84! But no award for Bhutanese goat herder double throat yodel. That upset me.
There was so many awards. Let's just go through all the awards. I agree, there's too many. But the first award went to the Best New Artist, Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion, there's Megan Thee Stallion. And always an award to watch. It was previously won by the Beatles, Carly Simon, Mariah Carey, Amy Winehouse. And of course, let's not forget about Beyonce. She won 4 awards, including Best R&B Performance for a Black Parade. And she's made history for breaking the award for the most Grammy wins for any artist. She has won 28 Grammys.
Wow.
Now, that award was previously held by Alison Krauss with 27. So I'm just going to give Beyonce a round of applause because I am a huge fan of Beyonce. And of course, the first Grammy that Beyonce won was for Say My Name, Destiny's Child. Her daughter, Blue Ivy, also became the second youngest Grammy winner with an all-time Grammy as well. So the most coveted award of the night, of course, was Album of the Year, and that went to Taylor Swift for Folklore. She also broke a record, becoming the only female artist and the 4th artist overall to win Album of the Year 3 times. So other artists who have done that are Frank Sinatra, Stevie Wonder, and Paul Simon. So she's definitely in a league with some amazing artists. And Fearless and 1989 were 2 other albums to have achieved that success. So the Grammys were a success all around.
Brilliant.
You know, I've got to say that there was one part of the Grammys that got me. I saw it on my multi-view here, and there were some people dancing, and WAP came up, and Abby had to explain to me what that meant.
I love WAP.
Well, do you?
No, I don't. Not as I want nothing to do with WAP as far as my
I
whole
didn't know
life
what
is
it meant.
concerned.
And there were these women, these larger women, dancing half naked on the thing. And I don't know. I think today is the point where I went, I am old. Because I'm looking at that thinking it's completely inappropriate. So there you go.
Because, wait, because they were large women? You pointed out
because
that
they were dancing
large.
half naked. I was just painting a picture. Don't do that to me, David Robinson. Don't throw me under that bus.
It's on.
I'm kidding.
I'm not.
Oh, look how Robbo's working so hard. Look. Oh, look at that
Robbo,
face. He's trying so
Rob.
hard.
Oh, okay. I'm not the one being okay. He's not
No,
angry
you
at me.
watch that performance and you tell me that it's appropriate for young kids to be seeing that.
Have
I
we
think
got
it's
the
appropriate
performance?
for
Can we
kids to
play
have
it? No.
positive body image. Yeah, for sure, Rob. I think that's really important.
I think there's a difference between positive body
joking.
image and
Bobby, I'm
gyrating to WAP, which means wet P word.
Yeah, we know.
I think
no.
everybody knows that.
Sorry, Amanda, I don't know what's the P
Okay,
word.
wet
Penis.
bum front.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
do any
So
of
I
us
think
have
it's a lyric. It's a lyric from a Megan Thee Stallion song.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
it's become a.
I had no idea, but I found it very
And when the song
inappropriate.
comes on, so it frequently comes on Triple J, and every time I hear it, I turn it off. Maybe I'm old too. I can't
Don't you
bear
like
it.
the
It's
song?
just so it's hideous. I wouldn't even call it a song. It's an assault. It's horrible. But now that it's like this big old movement who are doing the WAP thing because of that song. But it's just that one tiny bit of it. The whole song itself. It's like if you're going to be offended by something, I'll be offended by that.
Oh, but the whole song, it talks about the dangly thing in the back of your throat and all that kind of
Yeah.
Amanda's very
It's
uncomfortable with
true.
this conversation.
It's
Look, Jason,
true. Yeah.
thank you very much. But before you go, what's coming up in your entertainment report tonight?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Rob, because the entertainment report, it is less than 10 minutes away and it's jam-packed. Breaking news on who will be hosting Dancing with the Stars this year. Is Daryl coming back? Natalie Barr has a big win on her first day as the new co-host of Sunrise. And we, of course, meet the first contestant from the new series of Big Brother 2021, a show that I was on, and a much-loved TV presenter sensationally quits her job. The entertainment report is coming up your way shortly on the Ange, Rob and Robbo show. But first, here is to the beautiful Ange. And Ange, can I just say, I'm loving your earring on just one side of your face. I just think it's stunning.
The other side is there too. Thank you.
Oh, I
But
didn't
then
see it.
there was
Oh,
my
okay, I
AirPod.
thought it was just
Oh,
the
I got
one
two of them.
off. Okay.
I know.
Oh,
I'm like so conservative and so traditional. I wear two earrings at the same time.
Little did you know, Ange, putting your hair over your ear would cause such a kerfuffle tonight.
I know.
It really
what a
has.
controversy. Really.
I thought
Oh my
it was
God.
just the
Daily
one.
Mail tomorrow. I'm telling you. All right, guys. I think we should check out the other stories making news on this Monday, the 15th of March, 2021. Well, millions of Queenslanders are anxiously waiting on the COVID results of more than 300 people after a doctor contracted the virus over the weekend and was linked to 2 returning travellers. 6 new cases have been confirmed overnight, but all were detected in hotel quarantine. Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk said none of the cases were of concern, but that the next 24 hours would be crucial. AstraZeneca has responded to a scare about their vaccines and an alleged link to blood clots. The company saying a review of safety data on those who have had the jab has shown no connection. The review, which covered 10 million people vaccinated in the UK and the European Union, came after health authorities suspended the use of the vaccine over clotting issues. Irish authorities also received some reports of clotting and have suspended the rollout there. The AstraZeneca vaccine, developed in collaboration with Oxford University, has been authorised for use in the EU and many countries, including Australia, although US regulators have not as yet. Embattled Attorney General Christian Porter has launched a defamation suit against the ABC and journalist Louise Milligan. The action relates to an article the network filed in February, which Porter says made false allegations against him concerning a person he met when he was a teenager. The article reported police had been notified of a letter sent to Scott Morrison detailing an alleged historical rape by a federal cabinet minister. Although Porter wasn't named, his lawyer says her client was easily identifiable to many Australians. The statement of claims submitted to the court says that, among other things, the piece accused Porter of raping a 16-year-old girl without giving him the opportunity to respond. NRL star Jared Hayne has unleashed on the woman accusing him of sexual assault after a woman sent him a text after their night together. As the trial against him enters its final stages, Hayne says he was fuming after the woman contacted him about a month after their sexual encounter, alleging that she had not consented to him performing oral and digital sex on her. 33-year-old Hayne vehemently denies forcing himself upon the woman, causing injury on the night of the 2018 NRL Grand Final. The trial continues. And if you think the way that I pronounce the word auction is like nails down a blackboard, then avert your ears because I'm about to say it a whole bunch of times. So, Sydney's property market continues its red-hot run, posting a pre-auction clearance rate of 87.4% as the harbour city hits historically high home prices. Data research shows 817 auctions took place over the weekend, up from the same period last year. If results firm up as planned, it'll be the 6th consecutive week in which Sydney has had over 80% of auctions successfully selling a property. The biggest sale of the weekend was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom waterfront property at Hunters Hill, which sold for a crazy $9 million. Auction. Getting a check of tomorrow's weather now, a shower or two for Cairns and 31. Brisbane will have rain at times and 23, a shower or two for Sydney and 25, partly cloudy for Canberra and 22. Same for Melbourne, partly cloudy and 22. Cloud clearing for Hobart with a high of 19. Partly cloudy in Adelaide and 25. Partly cloudy in Perth and 34. And the sun will be out in Alice Springs hitting 25 and a shower as well, or two rather, as well as a possible storm for Darwin and 31. And now it's back to Rob.
Thank you very much, Ange. Robbo's just flagged me down. Robbo, you've just seen some breaking news. What's happening?
What's happened?
Yeah, one of the very important singers of Australia, Doug Parkinson, has unfortunately passed away. News is just coming in now. Parkinson was recently honoured in News Corp's Australia Top 50 Aussie Singers in January. He once worked at the Daily Telegraph when he was 15. Doug Parkinson was widely considered one of the most unusual and influential singer-songwriters in the history of contemporary music. He did a lot of covers, but a very important person in the music industry. We've obviously just lost Michael Kadinsky as well. Parkinson is survived by his wife, Susie, so no doubt we'll hear more information about Doug Parkinson. Look, I've got to be honest, it's not a name that I recognise, but when you see the pictures and then you put to the name, you will recognise, I think, a bit more. We'll obviously keep you up to date across.
We'll get
everywhere.
Jason across that story when we come to entertainment, but a huge loss for the Australian music scene. You know, it was larger than life, and what a sad series of events. As you said, Michael Kadinsky passed away just recently. The music industry has another reason to be mourning at the moment. What a shame.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for bringing us that, Robbo, and thank you for the news, Ange. And moving on, Married at First Sight goes from one drama to another, and tonight one of the new grooms dropped a bombshell on his new wife.
Are you bisexual?
I am, yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Are you really? Yeah.
Well, Liam was the man at the centre of that. Liam joins us now. Liam, welcome to the Ange, Rob and Robbo show.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, look, it's an absolute pleasure. Look, you've done something big. You've come out as bisexual on the show. This is something very different. Were you nervous when you told Georgia about that? And did it go as well as you'd hoped?
I was nervous going to tell Georgia that I was bisexual because, you know, I'm a big believer that I don't believe in labels, and I didn't really want to sit down and have this big outing story to my wife. So how it came out with Georgia on the night was beautiful. You know, it was kind of like she knew I was bisexual and it was a blink of an eye and she didn't even really flinch at it. So to me, it went perfectly.
Well, look, there's no doubt things finished well by the end of the episode, but she was thrown. She was thrown by the revelation. When you look at her body language when it first comes out, you can see that she absolutely... It took some time to try and get across the whole issue.
Yeah, and I think with anyone, hearing that your partner is bisexual, that is a bit of a throw. Like, I didn't think Georgia was thinking she'd come into this experiment and have a husband who was bisexual.
Yeah.
So I think it would have thrown anyone, to be honest.
Now, look, I know your sexuality doesn't define you, but this is a pretty big deal for an openly bisexual man to be on prime time TV in one of the biggest reality shows in the country. Do you think this is a turning point in a positive way?
Tell her. Yeah, I believe that this is a big turning point. Like, I don't think you've ever really seen a bisexual guy on TV before. So this is big that this is now coming, and especially on Married at First Sight, like, it's one of the biggest shows out there. And it's about time, I think, that bisexuals and gays were able to come onto a show and really show who we are and make awareness to Australia.
Now, look, there's still an element of this country that you are breaking down barriers. Are you nervous about a potential backlash?
Look, I know there's going to be backlash no matter what. Unfortunately, I think Australia is behind when it comes to LGBTQ community, and I think it's time that Australia needs to get on board and really accept it. Like, yes, there's going to be a lot of hate, I feel, because there is homophobic people out there, but I guess you just take it with a grain of salt and you move forward.
Now, look, I have to get to the biggest issue, because when I saw Georgia's backstory, my eyes hurt from all the pink. How have you coped with her colour choices?
Look, the pink was something else. I'm a country boy, so pink to me was, I was taken back by it because I've never been around that much pink. Like, you look at everything in Georgia is just pink, 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 pink. And it's different. It's a different world for me, I tell you that much.
I bet it is. Look, we haven't seen tomorrow night. We will see more of your relationship, I'm sure. Give us a little hint. Do you have a smooth ride, or does it get bumpy along the way?
Look, I can't say that everything was perfect, but look, me and Georgia, we headed off straight away, and it's, you're just going to have to wait and see the rest, but, it's a good journey.
Well, Liam, I'm really impressed. As soon as I saw this episode, I wanted to speak to you because I love what you're doing. I love your openness, and I wish you nothing but the best. Your journey is going to be fascinating to watch. Married at First Sight continues tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. on Channel 9. Liam, thank you for joining us on the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
It's the Random Life Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the Random Life Shot of the Day.
You sure don't, and we always take you to somewhere very, very exciting here on the Random Life Shot of the Day. Today we're taking you to the border checkpoint between Malaysia and Singapore. On one side, you'll find yourself in Johor Bahru in Malaysia, and on the other side, you'll be in the town of Woodlands. On a typical day, it is one of the busiest border crossings in the world, with 350,000 travellers daily. It has been a hot and humid day there today, overcast with a top of 31 and a bottom of 24 degrees with, a very, very sweaty 79% humidity. Let's get some feedback now here on the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. You have been typing furiously, which we love. We'd love to have you part of the show. Claire says, thanks, Rob, for playing Britney's speech in detail, giving it due gravitas rather than just another headline. That was, of course, Brittany Higgins when she spoke today at the March for Justice in Canberra. MVP Madsen says, if she wanted the PM to come out, why did she go in and people would just go after him if he did come out? Well, they were talking about the PM there not coming out to the March for Justice there. Jason Turner says, we have the right to ignore Martin Bryan. He's having too easy a time in Brisbane. No remorse, I gather. Dylan says, almost hashtag jacketgate with all black. Rob let the team down. Oh, yes, because no one notices. I'm trying to do a Carl Stefanovic. I wear the same shirt every single episode. And let me tell you, it's a bit woofy in here, if I can tell you.
I know, I can smell it from Melbourne.
You can, yeah, I thought you could. Philip says, Jason laughs like the Count on Sesame Street. Ha, ha, ha. One entertainment story. Ha, ha, ha. Two entertainment story. If you want to share your feedback, you can get involved with the show and leave your feedback. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at The ARR Show, or on TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram. We are Ange, Rob, Robbo. Robert, back to you, you beautiful man.
Thank you very much. Well, returning to that breaking entertainment news with Jason Roses. And Jason, a legend has died.
Yeah, Rob, legendary singer Doug Parkinson, he has died at the age of 74. He died at his home, and his publicist has confirmed, just received the saddest news that Doug Parkinson, the legendary Australian recording artist with a powerful and soulful voice, he passed away suddenly at home. Doug Parkinson was widely considered one of the most unusual and influential singer-songwriters in the history of contemporary music. So certainly some very sad news for Australian music this evening.
Yeah, look, he was a legend. There's no doubt about it. He was a big voice. He was a big man, and the world, Australia especially, will mourn his passing. And you know, he has been around for the longest time, and a lot of people watching this will know his music, will know the man. He was very big on shows like Hey Hey It's Saturday. He appeared on everything. Just a real shame to lose him. Real shame.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, Jason, moving on, and there's a very familiar face returning to Dancing with the Stars.
There is, as exclusively revealed by you, Rob, on TV Black Box. You know, and yes, I know. Look how excited he is. He's always got the exclusive goss. Rumours have been swirling for a while now that Daryl Summers would be returning for the special All-Stars version of Dancing with the Stars. Now, sources say he was actually on set last week for a promo shoot at Seven's Everleigh Studios. Also seen at the International Convention Centre, where rehearsals and tech checks are underway. Now, Sonia Kruger is also said to be returning. The pair hosted seasons 1 through to 7, and Sonia went on to host season 11. So if the rumours are true by you, Rob, then he will be returning.
Oh, he's returning. You know, he's returning. When
How
I
sure
give you the goss, Jason Roses, when I tell you someone's going to be doing something, you better believe it. TV Black Box.
You're like the gossip queen of Australia.
Yes. Well, just moving on from that, a story that I broke on robotv.com. Natalie Barr was announced as the new host on Sunrise. She did her usual thing where she filled in on Friday, but today was the #1 day where she began. How did it go on Friday, though?
Yeah, well, so Koshi came in to host on Friday with Nat. Now, he is usually only on 4 days a week. And, you know, again, Sunrise is hugely popular. It beats the competition with 260,000 on a 5-city cap viewers. And it's miles ahead of ABC News Breakfast with 187,000 and the Today Show at 182,000. And, of course, Rob, we have to give you credit again. You told us it would be Nat Barr the very day it was on
robotv.com.
It was on your show. Then let's have a look at what happened on this very show. Jason was on holiday, so he didn't have the information. Let's have a look on what happened on this show last Monday. It will be Natalie Barr. My sources, which are very trusted sources, have told me, and I broke this on the TV Black Box website this morning, Natalie Barr will be the new host of Sunrise. Oh, what can I say?
Well,
just like I said, it's Nat. You can guarantee it's Daryl. I'm not being modest, and I'm not being humble at all. Screw you, the competition.
Can I just say, I'm excited that it's Nat, and Nat came out and had a bit of a statement, and she basically came out and said that Sunrise has been my work family for 18 years, and whilst I've absolutely loved my role as a newsreader, I've now been given the chance to move half a metre along the desk closer to Koshi and give something new a try. I like to think of it all same, but different. I cannot wait. So I'm excited to see her. And in exciting news, I think she's joining us tomorrow for a bit of a chat on the Ange, Rob and Robbo show.
Mate, don't think it, believe it. Natalie Barr will be here on the Ange, Rob and Robbo show tomorrow. It is locked in, it is loaded, it is ready to go. We'll be chatting to her tomorrow night.
I can't deal with all the exclusive.
It's going to be fantastic. Oh, my God. Don't miss it.
You need a Bex and a good lie down, as Craig Bennett would say.
You do, right? Now, Jace, let's talk about Big Brother, because, you know, you are, of course, alum, and the newest season is coming soon to 7. What can you tell us so far, my love?
So, Ange, the first housemate, she has been revealed. It is Sarah Jane. Now, she is 65 years old. Of course, last year it was Marissa at 61. So Sarah Jane is definitely one of the oldest contestants to enter the house. Just take a look at the new promo introducing us to Sarah Jane.
I'm 65 years old. I am an antique jewellery dealer. All my life I've lived outside my comfort zone.
I am going to get emotional because people think they can't do what they want to do, and here we are.
Hello, Sarah Jane. I have chosen you.
It's going to be mad. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be terrifying. I can't wait.
My new house is all that and more. Are you ready?
If you're just going in there intending to win the game, you're not going to win the game. You need to have humanity.
I'm your friend.
You need to have kindness and understanding and an open heart.
LSJ, keep pushing!
I might be the oldest, but I have an opportunity to prove to people that you can all put yourself outside of a comfort zone and fly.
Oh man, this is such a long way away.
SJ, 65 years of age, and you have the best outfit here.
Hello.
I've had to be so strong and so fierce. This experience is going to help me to be vulnerable because there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable.
Welcome to my new house, SJ.
Bring it on.
Wow.
Just a quick
Oh my God,
question.
she's amazing. And she's got my
well,
accent too.
She does.
She does.
Will
Can I
SJ
just
be
say
able to
that
bring
brings
in
back so many
her
memories.
marijuana that she clearly does smoke a lot?
It is so exciting. What? No. Can I just say,
Robbo,
being
let
a
Jason
contestant...
finish. She's like a train.
Yes,
He's
just let
going
me
through.
finish. Robbo, you've been talking for the last 8 hours. Now, can I just say...
You know when I do this, when I do that off air, you go, oh, OK, he must want to speak, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, it was such a good show. Now the wheels are falling off. Jason, give us your last bit.
I was just going to... No, you know what? No, I'm not even giving it. No, just, you know what? Just go. You know what? I mean, clearly, Robbo, I should have been talking about the Big Brother segment because I've been on Big Brother, but no, you just want to have your little last minute, so, no, not
He
saying
was making a marijuana joke, Jason. He was asking what marijuana... Is she taking a marijuana? It was an aside. We'll talk about television production after we come off.
No, you know I'm not a diva.
Buddy.
I'm
sorry, buddy. Sorry.
You know what, though, Jason? We will be talking to the eliminated contestants throughout the run of Big Brother, so your insight will come in very useful for that. But thank you for all your efforts tonight. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great show. We'll see you tomorrow with Natalie Barr as we bring you another edition of the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show with Jason Roses. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See Ange, Rob the Robbo, Ange, Rob the Robbo Show, Rob the Robbo Show.